What's up, everybody? My name is George Edmondson. I'm a full-time video creator. I was freelance for about 5 years. I own a video production company called Seed Creative. And then a little over a year ago, I brought on my first, I guess you could say, employee. I really think of him more as a partner. I just wanted to come here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to make money as a video creator, making more while doing less, one of our topics, and then another topic, just clever ways to try and gain more clients.
I like it. So thank you, George, for being here. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about you, about what you're doing at Seed Creative, just in, you have a Facebook community. And that's what
right
us to have this conversation. And what's the name of the Facebook community in case anyone wants to go look it up real quick?
So it's called Video Creators That Care About Making Money. So I wanted to be really vague. I didn't want it to be too on the nose. So I decided to call it exactly what it is. We are video creators, and we're people that care about making money. And so that's what the group is for. And what we're really dedicated to is more of the business side and how to approach things as a video creator, with a business mentality, as opposed to what's the new camera this week? What's the new, should it be 2K, 4K, 8K, 16K? What kind of lighting? All that stuff. We don't talk about that nearly as much, if ever. We really try to talk and communicate openly about pricing structures, strategies, how to write proposals, just all those things that a lot of creative people sometimes need a little bit of guidance on. I know I definitely needed guidance on that when I started, and so that's what compelled me to make the group. And it's doing really well right now. We're hovering around 4,000 people that have all been totally vetted. We make sure that they answer all of our questions, and they answer them well. You know, we don't let anyone in there that just puts something down. It could be a bot or someone trying to sell us something, and that's not really what we're about. And so we do read every single one of those that people type out, and make sure that we feel that there's someone that can either contribute or can gain value from that group.
So for everyone listening, next level creators, our wealthy creators, subscribers, everyone here, everything that we do is about improving your business savvy, your skills as creators, as filmmakers. And that's really why I wanted to bring George on, is because he has a community doing something very similar, and it's never a bad idea to learn from multiple people. Because everyone's going to have a little bit of a different approach to proven methods for growth. And so we're going to talk a lot about his strategies here. And George, I want to start off with, tell us your story getting into filmmaking, into the freelance game, building Seed Creative to where it is now.
Cool. So I started, I've always been a video creator at heart. I've got videos of me when I'm 9 and 10 years old with a huge VHS camcorder, filming myself, filming my friends and I skateboarding and doing stuff like that. So being creative and having like the filmmaker storyteller mindset has something that I've just always had. I never considered that to be a career option, because, let's face it, especially when I was coming up right as the internet really started going, YouTube was brand new when I was going into college. I thought I just have to get a regular job. And so that's what I did. And I worked a couple different jobs until I ended up at an industrial laundry company called Cintas. And while I was working there, they knew that I messed around with video. I was doing audio recording on the side. They approached me and said that they wanted my help in editing a video that they had filmed, but they needed help editing for like a corporate, just like push for to try to get people's morale boosted, essentially is what it was. And they said, we'll treat you like a separate vendor. We'll pay you. How much do you want for the edit? So I sat there and I was like, you know what? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm literally going to throw a number out there. So I said $600. And I totally thought they were going to laugh. They paid it. And I was like, hold on a second. That took me not a lot of time, not a lot of effort, because I already knew how to do it. And so the video went well. They asked me to do another one. I charged them accordingly. And they essentially were training me to leave the company. Little did they know. But I'll tell you what, I always try my best to do the right thing. I told them exactly what I was planning on doing. I put in a 6-month notice. Yeah. And during that 6 months, I worked my butt off for that company. And I also took every available minute that I was awake that I could to study, to learn, because I really didn't know what I was doing when I started. All I knew was it was something I was passionate about, and I knew that the internet was starting to bloom and video was more and more accessible from people's smartphones and stuff like that. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to try this. Put a 6-month notice in, studied, went off in 2014 and started my company. And I haven't looked back since. It's been a long journey. I mean, and we can get really in the weeds if we want later, but went from, charging $100 a video to now, we're in the realm of $30,000, $35,000 a video. And so over the course of 6 years, it really has, it's changed my life. It's changed my family's life. And we have the financial freedom that we've always wanted. And we have just the freedom in time itself to be able to spend with one another and be able to do things. And I'm my own boss at this point. And so it's really been fantastic. But buddy, it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work.
I think anyone going into an entrepreneurial journey can take a tidbit of lesson from that, which is right. It is a lot of work, right? You went over a 6-year period to a point where you're making 30, 35K per video on your minimums. And that right there shows it's going to take some time. You're going to have to develop skills. And with that in mind, walk me through that journey. 6 years, if we want to not necessarily dig into everything, but from a prioritization perspective, that's where most people, I feel like they kind of get confused. What skills do you need to develop after you've learned editing, after you've learned how to shoot? What are the business skills, and what is the prioritization of those business skills to actually start to hit big numbers and make a living from this? Okay.
So, I'm gonna say this at first, and this is like the big hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. And in my mind, self-awareness is the number one thing that we all have to prioritize and focus on. So number one is being self-aware in that, like, are you capable of doing this? Are you capable of learning how to sell, learning how to prioritize, learning how to shoot video and make content that's going to be relevant and make content that people are going to connect with? It's going to work for your clients, because there's a lot of people in this industry that unfortunately aren't. They might be creative people. They might be able to make something pretty or sound pretty, but they're not moving forward. And so the number one skill, and I don't know if it can be taught, I don't. But in my mind, the number one thing is self-awareness. So once you get that out of the way, in priority from just a purely business focused standpoint would be, and they go hand in hand, that's communication and sales. And what I mean by that is knowing how to speak to people, knowing how to communicate, seeming confident, even if you're not, seeming well educated, even if you're not, or at least educated enough on what the goals are of the video and getting them done. So communication, and then sales. Obviously, at the bottom line, without sales, you have no business. Like, you have no money. It doesn't matter. I know video creators right now that are phenomenal artists that struggle. They don't make a living, and it's because they don't understand that at the end of the day, man, it is a business. It's a business. You have to run it like a business. You have to sell. And if you're not, and there's a million different ways to sell, and I know we're going to talk about that. But if you're not pursuing sales, and if you're not some just creative genius that the sales are just going to come to you, you don't have to work for it. Most of us kind of teeter in the middle there, and you have to work on sales. You have to talk to people. You have to tell people what you do. You have to create content for yourself that you believe in, and then other people are going to see it. We're going to talk about that too in just a few minutes on the clever ways to get clients. Yeah. But yeah, man, like self-awareness, number one. Right below that, communication and sales, being able to communicate with people.
And you said you're not sure self-awareness can be taught. My belief is it absolutely can be taught.
Okay.
I 100% believe that self-awareness can be taught, because think about it from your perspective. Have you become more self-aware over time?
Yes.
Have you done things to develop that self-awareness as you've continuously progressed?
Probably, even though I didn't realize I was.
And that's the thing. When you take a moment to sit down, we could sit here and talk about it, but you could start to think, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh yeah, I did. And if you just took a moment to think through what are those steps, we teach an entire, probably like 10 hours worth of content on self-awareness.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On setting goals and sticking to them, on developing skill sets, on overcoming imposter syndrome and identity challenges, because I found for my own success, that is, I 100% agree. It's one of the most important things we have to learn how to overcome.
Yeah.
If you want to reach another level, and that's at any level, whether you're going from 0 to 1, first client, or 0 to first video you're putting out there on the web, right? That nervous feeling.
Right.
Or you're going from $100,000 business to 7 figures. There's another evolution needs to happen on the self-awareness side first.
Right.
So through that perspective, I love what you're saying here. And then when it comes to sales on your side, what are, you've had an evolution of being in the game for 6 years. You started at 100, now you're at 35,000, right? In terms of the videos that you're selling.
Yeah. What's
the difference between a $100 video creator and someone who, justifies 30, 35,000?
I guess the obvious answer is experience. The longer you do it, the more well crafted you are. You're molded, you're refined by fire. I'm sure that everyone has heard that. You go through the struggles and the challenges to see what works and what doesn't work. And as you can begin to chip all that away, when I'm making $100 video, when I didn't know what I was doing, maybe it worked, but it could have worked better. It could have done better for the client. And so it's almost like trimming the fat, if you think of it in that regard. And as you do that, things become more valuable. As you purify your craft, as you are refined by fire, you can charge more. And in a way, it feels like you're doing less. But I will say, and I don't want to get too much into the next topic, but you can absolutely make money and spend less time. But I don't necessarily think you're doing less. I just think what you are doing is better. I think that you're being more efficient with what you're doing. And so you're doing more in less time. I mean, my God, humanity has thrived on that concept of, well, how can I get from this point to this point? Well, I just had an idea. I can create a wheel and we can put this on a wheel and roll it over there. We're getting more done in less time. We're being more efficient. And so you can absolutely make more money in less time, but you're still getting more done. You're still providing that much value. And in my mind, the quicker you are at putting something out, the more valuable you are. And so I really, we've messed around with business models over the past 6 years, and I really try my best not to charge people based on the time that I think something's going to take. I try my best to charge it on value. Now, sometimes there's some clients you have to itemize it. You have to put it in you have to say, we're going to spend 8 hours on this video set, 8 hours on this one, 12 hours editing, whatever. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, money is money. You have to cater to your client. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that.
Yeah. And that again makes total sense as far as the big difference being experience. And then through that experience though, there are strategies that you've identified. Mm. You just mentioned one of them, charge on results instead of time. Yep. And so this evolution of sales, getting good at sales for yourself, that 6-year journey, do you have a couple experiences that really showed you? I mean, that first one of the employer giving you $600 was that first experience that made you have that light bulb moment. And I love that. Right. You have other experiences that led you to learn really important things about sales.
Absolutely.
Can you share a couple, or maybe the most recent one with us?
Absolutely. So let me share the first one that was one of those. I try to look at things as almost like tipping points in the business. You're going up, and if you can't see me, I'm doing my hands like a graph. But you're going up to this tipping point, and once you tip over, you figure everything out, and it's almost like you go back down and you're at the starting line again, but you're starting in a better place. So I think the biggest eye opener to me was when I fought so hard to get this client, and I don't even know why I wanted them. Maybe I believed in their product. I thought that they were someone that we could have a long-lasting relationship. And I got all the way to the point where money, of course, comes up. And I gave them a quote, and this is early on. I think my quote was like $1,200 for this video. And everyone in the room, it got so quiet, and it felt so, I was like, yeah, I just totally screwed up. That was way too expensive. And they said, I think that after we've, talked about it, we like you, but we're going to go with this other company. Their starting bid is $5,500. Now, again, $5,500 is not, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a ton of money, but I learned they did not want to go with me based on the fact that I was too inexpensive, because they thought, and they were right, I'm going to give them a $1,200 video, not a $5,500 video. And I was not experienced enough, but I fought for it. And I ended up convincing them to let me do a $1,200 video. And it was terrible. It was awful, because and again, this is so early on, but I made the video. I'm very proud of it. And then I see the other content that they're getting from these other creators that is just, it makes more sense. It tells their brand and their story in a way that best represents them. Mine was all flashy and it looked good, but it didn't tell their story. It didn't sell their product the way that they wanted. And so, man, that was a hard time. Because I fought so hard to get it. I convinced them, and so I guess that's good sales in some regard, but I convinced them to let me still make the video for $1,200. And yeah, I should have just let them go and say, you know what, you're right, I'm not quite ready. And there's that self-awareness. I mean, so I was not self-aware. I thought in my arrogance, I can make you. That's way too expensive. You don't have to spend $5,500 for a good product. You can spend $12 and have a great product. And they were right. They were absolutely right. I was not ready to tackle that. And so, yeah, that was fun.
That leads me to one of the things we talked about in a previous conversation, which was your evolution with charging more is tied directly to how much value you're bringing to your clients.
Right.
And it's all, and you said one of the most valuable things that you've done that has allowed you to charge more is improving your pre-production process, improving the way you communicate with clients in the beginning, before you press record, before anything is scripted. Walk me through that idea, the pre-production process. What is changing for you there that's allowing you to become more valuable to your clients?
So this might sound crazy to some people, but for the longest time, I was flying by the seat of my pants, and I was telling people, selling video, and I show up and I kind of make it up on the spot. And I'm being totally transparent. I'm just being honest. There was a lot of that. It was, what's the goal of the video? Okay, we want to introduce this new product. Cool. See you Wednesday. And we show up Wednesday and we come up with a plan. It has worked some, and it has failed some. Now, at the end of the day, my clients have all felt they were successful, but I know in my soul it could have been so much better if we would have just been organized, if we would have taken the time to have a couple meetings beforehand, let our clients develop and help us develop the scripts and the shot lists together collaboratively, because they know their product so much better than I do. I can make their product look good. I can make it sound good. I can make it feel good, whatever it is that they need, but they know their product and they know their audience. So I think it's important for us as creators, especially creators like me, who I'm not really going through any sort of a branding agency or doing anything like that. I'm working one-on-one with the clients to come up with the creative content, working collaboratively with them so that we understand their audience and we understand what the goals are of the video. And so now, what used to be, you're available to shoot Wednesday? Cool, see you Wednesday. It's, oh, you're available Wednesday? Let's have a meeting. Let's location scout. Let's talk about what we're going to do. And yes, it takes more time now, but I'm also charging more. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm spending less time on the back end, less time editing, less time trying to craft the story, because we already have a story in place.
Yeah.
A lot of times I was showing up, we were filming everything, and you craft the story on the back end with all the content that you already have. Now we go into it, we already know what the story is. And it's silly that it has taken me this long to realize that. My God, every narrative film out there, most big commercials, there's a plan and a shot list. But seriously, man, for 3.5 years or so, it was just show up and film and do it all in post. And that's, a lot of people hate that. Let's not fix it in post, y'all. Let's try to get it right in the while we're shooting.
And I think that right there, it's interesting, because when I started, I was the exact same way, right? I would get a client, they'd hire me. Oh, you're the video guy. You do this. And I'd go and I'd just show up and what are we shooting today?
Yeah.
That is not good. It's not good for a number of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is expectations. Yeah. They're everywhere. The client, she may have completely different expectations than the reality of what we're doing. And if you don't prepare yourself, who knows what the heck you're going to make. Yeah. Some of it will be good, but I'm very confident the majority of my stuff would have been 100,000 times stronger. If I had just taken that time to go through and we have a standard operating procedure we follow, exactly how we communicate with the clients, the things we request from them, so we can get ourselves into the mindset of the audience, so we can write the script or help them and collaborate, and that kind of thing. I'm sure you have that too, is even when you're in that initial meeting with the client, do you walk them through when you're basically having that sales meeting, here's what's going to happen, here's how we're going to do this then? Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So when we sit down with the client, the first and foremost is, how are you today? We open the conversation with
Things are great. I was in Disney World a week ago. Yeah, my family had fun. Man, just talk to them. They're people.
Yeah.
But once you get down to it, of course, you say, okay, why are we here? What are your goals for the video? So I'm going to give you an example right now. We're working with a local, very well-known, pretty big establishment here in Alabama. And they reached out to us and they said, we need a series of informational videos that's going to be hosted on our website. And we, the goal is, that was it. That's all they said. We need some informational videos. I said, cool. When can we meet? So they came to the studio. And I said, okay, so what are the goals of these videos? What is the information? And they went through, it's going to be information on essentially training parents, how to deal with special need kids, and how to come with different approaches for discipline and expectations of their children and stuff like that. And so that immediately answered my next question, which is, who is the audience? Okay, so now I know more than likely the audience is not a 19-year-old kid who's going into college and no clue anything that has to do with parents whatsoever. My audience is not, someone that's going to go off and be a missionary for the rest of their life. My audience are parents who already have children with special needs and disabilities. So that immediately funneled my audience down into a very condensed idea, a very condensed concept. So then the wheels start turning. Okay, a majority of these people that you work with, Mr. or Mrs. Client, are they usually the moms or the dads? It's like 90% they're dealing with the moms of these children. So that condensed it even more. So we try to define our audience with them there so that they're on the same page, because they're not thinking of it this way. They're thinking, we need informational videos. How much does that cost? That's exactly. That's all they're thinking about. That's what the email says. We need 9 info videos. How much? It's like, I don't know. It could, I have no idea. How long are they? What's the information? So anyway, so we get them in, we condense, we find our audience, we know where it's going to be hosted, we know who the client is. Knowing who your client is should give you some idea of expectations. This client has very, very high expectations. And that is proven through any content that you already see that's out there from them. And so I already know the price is going to be a little higher than what we might normally do a series of videos or something like that. But I just simply ask, what's your budget at that point? We've defined our audience. We know the goals. We somewhat know expectations. Turns out they have a grant that they have to spend. They have a set established amount that they can spend, and it falls right in line with what we can do. I did tell them, don't expect a ton of animation, because they were wanting a mixture of animation and live video. But I just said, look, within this budget, we can do some animation. We're not going to be able to do the examples that you sent. They were cool with it. So right there, what you're talking about, managing expectations. I already told them, don't expect a fully animated 5 minutes of video. It's not going to happen. You can't afford it spreading this across 9 informational videos. You can afford some animation per video. And boom, we nixed it. Like, we're good. They're like, okay, we get it. No problem. And so that's kind of the process, man. And once we've defined that, we ask, okay, when do the videos need to be ready? When are they going to be live? Yeah. So we set a goal of having those videos completely finalized, like we're done in the books at least a month prior to them needing to release it. Now that puts a little pressure on them, but it puts pressure on us too. And then we just move into collecting payment. We do it a few different ways, but usually the best way for us, the best way for our client, we get 50% as a deposit. That gets us rolling. And then we collect that 50% remaining balance on the back end when everything is totally done and approved.
Yeah.
That lets them know that we have literally just as much skin in the game as they do. We have invested that final 50% ahead of time, just like they're investing that first 50% ahead of time. You know, we're in it with them, and we're going to hold their hand. We don't ask for all the money up front or anything like that. Like, we make sure that we're as committed to this project as they are. So and that's kind of the process. We get the payment, we schedule the dates, we shoot it, we edit it, we give it to them, we get our money on the back end, and everyone's happy.
So we've talked about a lot of really valuable stuff for everyone listening so far. We've talked self-awareness, communication, and sales. Those are the most important things in a prioritization for them. You know, talked about how important the pre-production process is here to evolving your skill set, right? To evolving and being able to offer more value, so then you can charge more. Okay. And now we've just walked through an entire proven sales process George just shared with us. That's landing him huge, like very, very big, successful clients working with him and giving him a trusted advisor role.
Yep.
What are some clever ways to go and get clients now?
Oh man, this is the fun one. This is the one I was excited about. And I'm just going to give, because I don't want to take too much time up, but I'm going to give one example that worked. Clever ways to get clients. Sorry, I just kicked the mic. 1 second. All right, here we go. Clever ways to get clients. Make content that you believe in on your own and see what happens. And I know this is like, everyone's like, no, don't work for free. I'm not saying work for free. I'm saying make content for yourself that works and let other people see it. That is not working for free. That is investing your time, energy, and knowledge back into your own company, back into yourself. And so we made a very silly, very stupid video for April Fool's this past April, just for fun. It was something that I wanted to do, but I would always tell my clients, like, when are you going to let us make something silly? Or when are you going to let us do something unexpected? And no one would ever chance it because it's risky. I said, hold on. Like, I can risk it. Like, I can do whatever I want. I make the videos. And so I'm going to give you two examples. First example is the April Fool's video. We made the video because we wanted to. And it was fun and stupid. The CEO of Red Digital Cinema, and anyone that's a video creator knows who Red is, saw the video. He liked it so much, he sent us a fully outfitted Red Gemini with everything, all the bells and whistles, monitors, batteries, cards, the mount for the lenses, like literally everything you needed for free. Because he liked the video and he saw what we were doing with our company. He saw where we were going, the trajectory of our company. And he also saw our other videos and knew we actually do make content for companies. And he wanted Red's name to be a part of it. And it has worked because I have been on multiple podcasts. I've talked about this a lot online, and it keeps Red relevant in what I would consider the smaller production companies' minds, because we're a small production company, but people see that Red is doing stuff like that. They're investing in these smaller creators just as much as they are these big guys. They care about creativity no matter what scale you're on. And it has absolutely worked. It worked for us. It's working for them. I mean, we'll get to go out to Red in California someday and shake the man's hand, and it'll be another PR great thing for him. All right, so there's example number one. That's making content in the silly, risky, goofy way. Now, on the more serious note, I did the same thing, but I had an idea, a concept that no one wanted to invest in. So I said, all right, I'll invest in it. And I wanted to start a series called Alabama Artist Spotlight. And the idea is you follow different artists around that can't afford us. They can't pay us to make videos for them, but they have a story to tell. They have an art to show to people. I think that's valuable. And so I said, okay, we're going to find artists and we're going to make the videos for free. We're going to slap sponsored by Seed Creative on it because I believe in the product. Well, I did one. I follow a friend of mine. He's a photographer. He struggled with heroin addiction for a long time. That's his story, is that photography literally saved his life. He's been heroin free for, I don't even know, 5 years now, something like that. And it's all due to his passion for photography and storytelling in that way. We made the video, shot it for free. Well, shot it on our dime, put it out there. And it did well. And then we did one more, and I showed it to the local arts council here in where we live, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They loved it. They hired us to do a video about an artist that they will now pay for. So the artist benefits, we benefit because we're making money, and they benefit because their name is on it, and that's what they do. They are the arts council.
Yeah.
Well, that exploded into, rather than the city doing this mini documentary, the state of Alabama picked it up and hired us to do a full-fledged hour-and-a-half long documentary on this artist and what's going on for the bicentennial of Alabama that will be shown statewide, I'm sure nationwide, and it blew up. I mean, and now it's a huge, like, we've been working on it for 6 months, and our final shoot date is this Saturday. And so that just goes from, I went and shot this video about this photographer because I believed in it. No one else did. No one else wanted to pay us for this. They didn't know it's risky. I don't know what it's going to look like. And now we're doing videos for the state of Alabama. We've brought on another state agency because of this, because of the networking and connections we've made. We're speaking with state tourism after this documentary is out. I mean, it really has changed the game for us. And guess what? We're shooting it all on a free Red that we got from the CEO of Red from a video that we believed in. Yeah. So I know that is, it's almost one of those things where it's like people say, well, yeah, duh, make videos you believe in. But a lot of people don't do it. We didn't do it for a long time. Yeah. Nike, just do it. Like, if you believe in it, if you have a concept that you're trying to sell to someone and they don't buy it, sell it to yourself, because now we are reaping the benefits.
That right there is the line everyone should write down. Take a note on that. If you have a concept you're trying to sell to a client or offer to a client, right? I always like to use the word offer. Yeah. It just has a different tone to it.
I like it. Yeah.
And so offer it to yourself. Would you take it? If you're afraid to take it yourself, if you're afraid to go out and do the work and make that investment yourself, because that's what you're asking a client to do. You're giving them an offer. You're not necessarily asking, you're giving them an opportunity to say yes to an opportunity. Right? And so if you're afraid to say yes to it, if you're not doing it for yourself, that's typically a big reason why they're not going to hire you. If people ask me, how can I offer commercial campaigns to people? It's because I run them for myself all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
People can't escape me because I'm doing it for myself.
Right.
And then I do it for my clients, and they're like, I just want you to do what you do for yourself for me. I said, okay, done. That's easy. And so I think what was really interesting here is the free to fee model, the concept. I know a lot of filmmakers talk about free to fee. Do something free and then charge a fee for it. The key distinction I got from listening to you was it's not necessarily free to fee. I'm not going to go shoot a wedding so that way I can get commercial clients. That doesn't necessarily line up. It's come up with a concept that you believe in and then go and shoot that type of content for yourself and present that as a case study, as proof that this type of thing works to get the next client. And that's a huge distinction. If you're trying to offer ongoing video services to someone, like a retainer, makes sense to be doing ongoing video for yourself.
Absolutely. And we shoot video for ourselves, a lot. We really do. And I mean, not to dampen what we do for a living, but my God, even if it's trying to utilize stories on Instagram, or even if it's like small, short form, shoot it on your cell phone, throw a quick edit together and put it out there, that you're creating content regardless. And clients see that. Like, so many of my clients follow us online. They see that we're putting content out there just like what we're making for them, because we truly believe in it. I mean, that, like, video is inescapable. It's everywhere. And it's only going to get more. Like, it's, I mean, that's proven. Everything, even apps have in-app ads are video now. Like, everything is video. That's the quickest and most efficient way to tell a story. And that's all we're doing. We're just telling different stories about different things.
Yeah. So now we've covered getting clients in clever ways. That was awesome.
I love it.
Incredible lessons for everyone listening. The next thing I wanted to touch on, because we're coming into a new time. Video has evolved dramatically in the past 20 years.
Right.
You know, it's 2008, DSLR, like the massive amount of equipment that's here, the massive number of people coming into the industry. There's more video creators now than ever have before. What are the trends you see for the next decade ahead, 2020 to 2030?
So in my gut, this is what I see. I think that fads and trends are easily recognized even by clients now, because video's everywhere. And you know how history repeats itself? I think that we're coming back to, which it has always been in a sense, but we're coming back to story is what matters most. Not flashy transitions, not incredible camera work, not flying a drone, not all of these things that you would consider trendy. I think that people are wiser because it's always in front of them. And what they're going to connect to is not the flashy text. It's not the flashy so much as the story itself. And so I think the trend is people start taking the story more seriously, regardless of what story is being told. I think that we're going to think about it more, and we're going to get less motivated by what those flashy transitions and the flashy editing and the fast edits. I think that slower form, longer form content is going to start taking over again. I don't believe that people have a shorter attention span now. I think that they just only pay attention to the things that matter to them. And so if you have a 6-minute video that was shot on a cell phone of a child being reunited with their parents after they've been gone in war, you're going to watch 6 minutes of it.
Yeah.
If you have an hour-long documentary that's telling a story that you care about, you will invest that hour. So I think that this whole mindset of attention spans are short, you've got to get all of that information in so quickly. I think that we're gonna start to see a switch. I really honestly do. I think that it's important for some things. If you have information and a story that can be told in 5 seconds before that skip ad button hits on YouTube, you can tell the story in 5 seconds. But I think that if you have a story, if you have a client that has a story that can be told, and you can do it in a compelling way, people will pay attention to those longer videos. They will. You just have to make them. You just have to make it relevant, and you have to make it good. Don't fill it with a bunch of flashy transitions. Fill it with quality content. That's what I think. We could get into the whole, 3D is coming and people with headsets is coming and 360 video. And the thing is, man, that's all been around. That's been around for a long time. And while I think that there's a platform for it, I think what's going to matter is at what's always mattered, just the story. Yeah. And however you deliver it doesn't matter. People are going to look at their cell phones. They're not going to put goggles on for a long time. It's going to be a long time before people are comfortable with wearing, glasses that are giving them a heads up display. Like where it's actually going to be scaled to matter for what we do as video creators. I mean, I could see that in the next 20 years. But again, man, the content, if you're putting ads in someone's glasses, it's still the same. It's still the story is what matters. Like, and it always has, and it always will. That's not a new concept. And I think people are starting to really grasp that again.
So knowing that, and if anyone, you're watching this, so your long form works.
Yeah.
Knowing that long form works, what opportunities does that create for us as video creators, working with clients, working with our own companies, creating offers? What are those opportunities over the next decade that you see?
I mean, there's opportunities to make more money because long form you're going to make more money. I mean, you just are. But I think it's opportunities to build relationships with your clients that are, our relationships with our clients that we've done longer form videos on, obviously are so much stronger than our relationships with the one-offs that we literally film in half a day and edit in half a day and we're done.
Yeah.
Those relationships at the end of the day equals money. And again, it's all going to come back. We can't do what we do and have the creative freedoms that we have if we're not being able to provide a living for ourselves. And so those long form videos are going to equal better relationships, longer lasting relationships, where you're going to make more money, and you're going to make more money more often because you can call those people and say, because you have a good relationship with them, hey, I think it's probably time for us to consider updating your video on the website again. It's been 2 years. 2 years is a long time in the business world. A lot can happen in 48 months or 24 months. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, I think that you're going to make more money with that longer form content. You're going to be able to be better at your craft because you're doing it more often. You're thinking about the pre-production process more. You're working on story more, and you're not focusing on fancy camera moves and fancy transitions and fancy text. That stuff only matters to other video creators. I'm telling you right now. Like, the clients don't care. They don't. Like, we've tried both ways, and our most effective videos are the ones where you don't realize you're watching a video.
Yeah.
As soon as you realize that camera move was cool, the focus is no longer on the client, it's on you. And we don't want that. We want the focus to be on our client and on their product, or on their story or whatever it is. And so, I think those are, it's simple, but I think the longer form stuff, opportunities to make more money, have better relationships, and everyone's happy.
I 100% agree with you. And one of the takeaways I got from that more than anything was it makes more sense to prioritize learning story than it does to prioritize learning transitions.
It does. It does.
I always say it's you can buy the expensive camera gear, you can buy the expensive programs that are going to teach you everything you need to know about editing, right? But if you become a great storyteller, you're going to end up delivering a better product to your clients.
Yep.
Probably having a lot more fun because you're going to be talking to those clients more. You're going to be telling engaging stories.
Right.
And the results that your videos get 100, 1,000 times better. Because that's what I see. Even looking behind the scenes, in our ad campaign, some of the stuff I shoot with my iPhone where I just chat and I talk for 2 minutes, I talk for 3 minutes about something that I was feeling in the moment. Those things dominate my highly produced, highly edited videos that I put out there in terms of response, in terms of the viewership, all of it.
Right.
There was one last thing I wanted to chat with you about today, George, which is you've got your family man.
Yeah.
balancing that family with film. How has that gone over? Of course, you've been in it for a long time. How is the balance for you? How have you found peace in this crazy industry, and how do you work family and film?
So the first thing I'll say, if you are someone that's considering doing this, or you just got started and you are married, maybe you have kids, maybe you're in a long lasting relationship, is the number one thing is that your partner is 100% on board, just like you are. Because if they're not, it's going to be a long, hard road for you, for them. And so having transparent, open communication with your partner about what the goals are. I mean, once again, it's almost like when you sit down with a client, it's like you're sitting down with your partner. It's almost the same process. What are the goals? Why are we doing this? Who are we trying to reach? But instead of like the audience, it's like, who are our clients? What industry are we kind of going to tackle? Are you narrative? Are you corporate? Are you medical? Or, there's so many different things that you can, are you weddings, whatever. And so number one, make sure your partner's on board. I will tell you, my wife is the one that had to convince me that I was capable of doing this. And I never leave a podcast without making sure people understand that if it was not for her, I would not do this. I would work for an industrial laundry company, and I would be miserable. They're a great company, but I'm not passionate about doing laundry, and so if it weren't for her, she's the one that it was like this self-awareness deal again too. I was not even aware of, I guess, my capabilities at that time, but she was, and she encouraged me. She encouraged me to do it. She said, look, there's no room for growth at this other company. You can grow as much as you want being a video creator. And so she's the one that pushed me to take that leap, and obviously so glad I did. Now, with that said, that comes with its own set of challenges. When we started, it was 18-hour days. It was, a lot of shooting, a lot of editing for little money, a lot of studying because I still didn't know what I was doing. And I still don't. I mean, we're all still learning. Continuing education is crucial in this industry. Don't ever think you figured it out. You haven't. You are getting older. Technology is getting younger and faster. Like, you have to embrace it. Like, you have to shoot video that's vertical video. You have to, get over it. Anyway, sorry, that was my rant. Part of the reason that I even have a studio is because it helps me separate work and family better. Up until well, I guess it's a year and a half now. About a year and a half ago, I worked from home. All my shooting was in the field. All my editing, all my meetings were out. I went to them. I went to their offices, and then all the editing was done at home. That did work well. However, I shut my computer off, I open the door, and my children are already there expecting me to be Superman daddy. Yeah. And I can't, it's like you can't cut off. Or you do get a text or an email, and it's like, well, I could just run upstairs and make that edit revision. And man, that started to hurt bad. It was affecting me. It was affecting her. It was affecting my kids. And I mean, work still affects me. I'm still in work mode more than I should be, but it has helped tremendously just having a place to get away. Obviously, not everyone can afford a studio space. That's fine. You can afford to get up if hopefully you have some sort of a laptop or something you can do some work on, and go out, be away from home, get the work done, and come back. That has helped me. Some people might be able to shut off immediately. I'm not that kind of person. Like, it lingers and stays with me.
I think it's human. I think it's human. I work from home, but I have my own office, and I have a door, and we shut it, and there is a 100% disconnect. And before I walk out of and I think that's the key thing, is you have to understand your environment has a massive, massive influence on who you are as a person and how you act. So what I do is I will never leave my office until I've turned everything off and I've stopped for at least 5 minutes before I walk out that door, because I know my wife's out there.
Yeah, that probably would have worked for me, but just in that time, I do a little work, I let something render, I walk downstairs, I see the kids, I say hey to my wife, and it's like this weird, I'm always home and I'm always at work, and it blends too well.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't realize that it's 9 p.m. and you're still editing. You know, so now, I mean, this just works for me. We said 5 p.m., that's it. Unless you have a shoot that is pre-planned, you know you're going to be out, you have meetings, whatever. If it's a regular day of coming to the office, paperwork, editing, whatever, 5 p.m., everything goes off and you leave.
Yeah.
And it's hard. You can ask Adam. He's sitting right here beside me. It's hard for me to do sometimes, but he'll tell you, he's like, I'm sitting here working and I'm like, oh, if I could spend 15 minutes on this edit, 15 more minutes, I could get it done. And it's like, nope, it's 5. I'm done. I'm done for the day. And I get to detox, go home, be with my wife and kids. And it has definitely worked a lot better. So that's part of that balance. But then again, just open communication. Yeah. My wife knows everything that's going on with my business. She knows every invoice that's out there. She knows every client. She knows every client that's given me a headache. She knows every client that I love. She knows what Adam and I ate for lunch that day. Like, she knows everything about my business, and that truly helps because it's someone that you can just, it's another form of communication that you can open up and vent or do whatever you have to do. And that helps too, letting your partner be involved, even if it's just there for moral and emotional support, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I learned a lot from that. It goes volumes. It very much aligns with what I try to do with my wife. I don't have kids, but I think you're smart. I think anyone who's listening to this who may be in that scenario where you have children, you have family, the distinction of work and home is a very difficult one. At different times in our lives, we can't afford a studio, but I would 100% prioritize having a space for yourself from everything to do your work. It's made a huge difference in my life. I'm glad it's made a big one for you as well. I don't have anything else that I had written down that I wanted to chat about with you. We've done so much value here. And really, is there any final things that you would want to say? And where can people reach out to you, George, to connect and learn more from you?
Sure. So I think right now, where I'm most active is probably going to be on Facebook. You can find us. We're called Seed Creative. I think our Facebook URL is like Seed Creative Video or something. You'll find us. Just look for Seed Creative. And then our group is called Video Creators That Care About Making Money. Go join us, answer the questions, answer them well. We read every question and we read every answer. And once you're in there, have fun, ask questions, provide value, give answers, learn from other people. We have got people that are still brand new, just starting. They know nothing about the video industry, but they want to, all the way to guys that have been doing this for years. They're making 7-8 figures, with their companies. There's a lot of value there for sure. And that's really I guess that's the final thing, man, is Adam and I have committed, my wife and I have committed to our company. Our main purpose and our main goal is to create content that can make a difference in people's lives. And that's truly where our heart is. That's truly where our passion is. And we try to take that in every aspect very seriously. So even if we're making a safety video for a company, we want that video to make a difference in their lives. We want them to watch that video and be persuaded and engaged enough to remember those aspects of safety while they're out there working. And our videos save lives. They truly do. Or, you know, if we're making a video that is talking about a gym and it's going to, like, you're going to be healthy if you go to this gym, we keep that in the back of our mind. If we're telling someone's story that could impact others, like my friend Matt, who we did the video, he was addicted to heroin, he got clean. You know, his story, I mean, he has truly saved people's lives by telling his story. He gets numerous messages on Facebook a week from people thanking him for being brave enough and saying, I struggle with this, but your story has inspired me. And so I want everyone to be aware, anyone that ever listens to my voice, to know that we take video very seriously. It is the best way to communicate with another person, other than sitting right there in the room with them and having a one-on-one conversation. I think it's the next best thing. And we want to change people's hearts. We want to inspire people. And that's our goal, man. So I hope that everyone can walk away maybe feeling inspired to take that own, have that own feeling about what you're creating. Like, what you create is important. It's important to those businesses because they're providing for their employees, and they have to get that money that you're making a video for so that they can take care of their families. Like, everything kind of trickles down to that one aspect of, like, taking care of other people. And so that's what we want.
It's a beautiful mission. And yeah, I've learned a ton from this conversation, George. I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your experience. You've got a great, a great compass as far as ethics, morals, values. I could feel it. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons you're so successful. Your clients can feel it. They can see it in your videos. They can hear it in your voice. And I think everyone who watches this will as well. So guys, comment below. Let George know what you learned best from this video, that you appreciate him. I'm going to comment below letting him know I appreciate him. And I'll say it right now to you, George. I appreciate you taking the time today. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you reaching out. Let's do it again sometime.
We will. Next time. Repeat, guys.
See ya.